All right, so do you remember the March 4th thing?
Rick, I'll just tell you,
today's March 2nd, in case you're wondering.
Personally, I've had to deal with a lot of conspiracies. And look, I'm a critical thinker guy. Look, let's talk about it. Let's look into it. But at some point, some things you go, this just ain't adding up. I'm not seeing anything here. So from the same people who brought you Pizzagate in September, do you remember that one? September,
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have all this come out. Trump's going to turn in all the people who are marketing and running kids and sex rings and everything else in D.C., all that was going to come out. Didn't happen. JFK Jr. was going to show up. You remember that? That was another.
I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. Yeah.
So we keep having these dates, and the latest one after now I had people, Rick, that I knew who I respect and love dearly, who were absolutely positive that there was going to be something happen in D.C. to stop the vote. That's when we had the riot. Mm-hmm. Then on the swearing-in day, January the 20th. They thought people were going to overrun that. The military was going to take over, the CIA, FBI. Somebody was going to arrest Joe Biden literally before he put his hand on the Bible to be sworn in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you remember that? I mean, I had one I was texting with said, "Hey, you got 15 minutes."
Yeah, I couldn't believe.
And they're like, "Hey, it's going to happen. I'm watching."
I couldn't believe you knew somebody who actually thought that was going to happen.
Rick, no. I know many people that thought that was.
But I do remember that was the thing that the pastor in his truck. Remember, put the video out that told us that was going to happen.
So
CIA operatives.
So after that went in,
Yeah.
after Joe went in, he was made inaugurated as president, President Biden. Then we heard the next magic date to watch for was March the 4th. It's always the field goal. The goalposts are always being moved for.
I'm going to predict this gets moved to April. But go ahead.
Now, Rick, part of the rift behind this, and get this, the Trump hotel in D.C. had so many people trying to get rooms for March the 4th, and prices tripled. They go up based on demand, like everything else. They tripled, Rick, to over $1,300 a night for March the 4th and the days around.
So I want to be in the Trump hotel in D.C. because he's going to come back in as president? Why am I wanting to be there?
Well, Rick, apparently some of the roots of this goes back. The basis of this comes from a law that many people believe was passed in 1871, which secretly turned the U.S. into a corporation. The sovereign citizen movement therefore believes that every president after Ulysses S. Grant is illegitimate. They also claim the U.S. has been run by a group of shadowy investors since 1933, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt ended the gold standard. The date of presidential inaugurations was changed from March the 4th to January the 20th in 1933. So if you go back, the original day to swear in the president was March the 4th. And that's kind of the root of where a lot of this is coming out of.
But how? Okay, that's all seemed historically correct. But we moved.
Now this is, and I'm getting these facts from Newsweek magazine. This is a story they have out, by the way.
I'm just saying, somewhere along the way we moved it to January. Okay,
1933.
Right. It's and so now that's been pretty solid since the 30s, based on what you're saying.
Right.
But this year, Trump is going. He's going to somehow be president on the old swearing-in day, and how's that going to happen?
Rick, now that's where the sprouts start.
I can't believe y'all are stirring this up.
Different
Look,
directions.
well, I'm trying to. If I'm on track, I got to understand. You got to show me this. This is how it's going to happen, and then I may agree or disagree that I think that's possible.
Rick, there's many different theories, but
somebody
the bottom
said
line
won't do it for me.
The bottom line is some people think that Donald Trump is still the legitimate president.
I got that, yeah.
And that he will come back to take his throne, if you will, or the presidency on March the 4th, which is the real date that the president is sworn in.
And he will do that how?
Rick, now it's all over the road after that. Okay. I can't give you guidance because there's many paths.
That's what you want walked out.
Yeah, because what you're talking about, the only way
maybe someone that's in this.
Don't you worry about that.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said.
Don't you worry
You've
about.
stirred the pot, friend.
And I am so glad that's the call screeners in there.
That fire ant bed has been kicked over.
Yeah. So, because I'm admit this is not my area of expertise, but it seems like. Matter of fact, I don't know that I have an area of expertise, but
you got one for sure.
But what I'm saying is that would have to be some military coup overthrow. Mm-hmm. It would be a true civil war where you're going to take the current sitting administration and replace it with the one you prefer.
Yes.
Which that's why we say the Civil War. We were told the first time we heard that was Walter E. Williams said the Civil War is terribly misnamed. It was not a civil war.
No.
It was a
failed attempt at independence.
It was a failed attempt at independence. All right.
Yeah.
Let's. A civil war is when you try to go to where the government is
and take over the current government.
Well, and two, when that was going on, everything was kind of equal as far as weaponry. Yeah. Now it's not.
No. Well, that's what I mean. You would have to have a current sitting faction of the current sitting military that has weapons is good.
Thank you.
As the one that is going to say no, we think this one's legit, and then it would be on. But now if you don't have that, then
it's over before it even begins.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember the great speech that Rhett Butler gave in the movie Gone with the Wind, for those of you that can still get it because it hasn't been outlawed, he pointed out to the folks smoking the cigars ready to go to war that this ain't going to be fair. We ain't got what they got, and this is ridiculous to even try it.
And that was closer to what's happening now.
Yes, it was. That speech, you could give it right now.
Anonymous, go ahead.
I've got some information for you. If you'll notice that Biden, when he writes and signs those executive orders, not only was he right-handed when he was previously left-handed, but he also had a parking lot behind him and those windows at the White House. White House has a rose garden. He's at Castle Rock Studios doing this.
Okay, so
there's also an interview.
Anonymous, can I ask you a question there before you move on? So,
sure.
Are you from the theory that President Biden is not in the White House, that it's being held by the military waiting to inaugurate Trump on the 4th, which is 2 days from now, on Thursday?
That'd be day after tomorrow, Bubba.
Yeah.
It may not be the 4th, but I can assure you that he is not allowed in the Pentagon. He is not allowed in the White. He's allowed one time in the White House, but they did not allow him in the Oval Office.
Anonymous, and we may have to come back. We may have to come back after the bottom of the hour because we're running out of time. But I can get this in. And the reason that Biden is not screaming into some TV camera, they won't let me in the White House. Why isn't he saying something?
Because it's not him. Listen, the other night on
Time out.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Clarify that.
We want to just walk this out. So you don't think that is Joe Biden who we're seeing on TV?
No, but I will tell you, on the 20th of February,
did he say no?
There was
she said no.
Bodies coming out of the White House at 3 o'clock in the morning in body bags.
Hang on.
So are we talking about Dave the movie, right?
I mean,
this is y'all's fault.
I want to know what happened to the real Joe Biden. If this is
we're going to continue to talk to Anonymous, and I will Anonymous, prepare for this. I'm going to ask you this when we come back. Where are you getting this information? Where are your sources? And you don't have to tell me who they are. I'd like to know where you're getting this from.
Rick and Bubba.
Rick and Bubba. So we are talking with a person who's anonymous. Bubba brought up, because it is a story today, in all fairness to Bubba.
It's a major story.
Here comes that March 4th thing again. We are talking to a person who says that Joe Biden is not the president right now, and that he's not this person we see that isn't even him, is not allowed into the real White House because it's being held for, and she says she's willing to move the date back, but March 4th was the date we were given
get to do that.
And so, Anonymous, I'm going to ask, what are your sources on this? How do you come to the conclusion that these things you say are real?
I know one of General Flynn's close friends.
So you know one of General Flynn's close friends, and he says this is going to happen, or she.
Mm-hmm.
Are you messing with us? I mean, because that's all right. I mean, that's funny. If I were in your position, I would probably do this to a show.
What is your email address? And I'm going to send you the videos.
Bubba at rickandbubba.com.
Thank you for that.
Bubba at Rick and Bubba.
Yes, ma'am.
That'll work. Or my main one is Speedy at rickandbubba.com.
Yeah. But if you want anybody to read it, it's Greg at rickandbubba.com.
But if you want it to be played on social media, Adler at rickandbubba.com.
Right.
No, we don't want it. No, we don't.
Okay.
So let me ask you this: did you also think that Joe Biden would be prevented from being sworn in on the 20th?
No, but I will tell you this. People in Spain saw the inauguration 20 minutes before we did because it's supposed to happen at a specific time according to our laws.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to happen at a specific, place and stuff.
Right.
But the people in Spain saw it 20 minutes before we did because it was done at in California at Castle Rock Studio.
So
even the inauguration
wasn't real. That was all fake.
Yeah.
All right, where is the real Joe Biden?
Doesn't it seem like somebody that was in D.C. that day wandering around would go, "Where's the inauguration at?" I'm
Think
here.
about this, Bubba. Why is the razor wire pointed the way it is? It's to keep people in Washington, not to keep them out.
This is on you.
Think about that.
It's about the details, Bubsy.
I'm not really up on razor wire detail. I mean, I figured it would cut you if you touched it. I don't know about which direction it's pointing.
Anonymous, where is
I know
Anonymous?
nothing about it.
Where is the real Joe Biden?
Arrested.
He's been arrested.
Wow.
Oh, and he's been kept in some military enclosure of some type.
Let's just put it this way. Guantanamo's full.
Okay, but so he's not there.
But let me ask you this: why do all this in secret? Why, if there is a problem and there's people to be arrested and wrongdoing that has gone on, why is it not just readily known?
Well, first of all, the flag that's flown at half-mast that they're saying, Biden saying, oh, it's because of the COVID, it's not. It's because the military's in charge and it's considered a state of emergency.
All right, let me ask you.
I thought they flew it upside down if you were
right
being occupied.
All right, let me ask you this, Anonymous, and then we're going to then we're going to move on because I want to be sure I have it right. In your opinion, and you think this is true, Joe Biden is being held captive somewhere. There's a body double Joe Biden that is not in the White House, pretending to be in the White House. The military is in control of our country right now, and on a certain date, you think maybe not, day after tomorrow, the military will reinstate Donald Trump as the legitimate president. Is that what you believe?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You are so good at that.
Thank you very much.
Rick,
so who's doing? Who's
had
like
another hour there? I could have gone.
So these people that are being
no problem because there's other people you can talk to. My
so
friend.
these people that
Bubba,
are going
no problem
in front of Congress and we got people like what? I'm so confused. Like who's being Kamala?
Can I go back to one simple?
Does she have a body double too?
I want to go back to this Oval Office picture that everybody keeps throwing around because now I'm seeing Trump pictures in the same background. So was he in the studio too at some point?
I know him.
Like I'd like somebody to walk that out for me. I'm not tracking there at all.
Adler came in a minute ago and said all these things they say don't exist at the Oval Office, they absolutely exist there. These same things in the background.
Yeah, I mean,
right. Look,
for years and years, I'm saying. I mean, I see the same thing with Trump that I'm seeing with Biden. So to their point, Trump must have been in the studio at some point too.
Well,
right?
Rick,
I'm just trying to walk this out. Please help me.
No, he's showing you where everything is.
The Oval Office, and
I see
a road
parking lots and roads.
We've actually been there.
Yeah.
Well, in a movie, the people who want to have the continuity, they're meticulous about and they miss a few things. But you would think if you were pulling this off, someone would say, "Hey, I see cars out the window. We need to fix that."
I want to say,
this. I mean, just as a general rule.
The body double,
and you would get which hand he writes with. Right out of the
I
gate.
say this to the conspiracy people: the body double is phenomenal.
Yes, well done there.
He seems as goofy as the real one.
Right.
He does.
Yeah, and I know you can create an Oval Office anywhere. Don't know why
there's several.
Don't know why we're going through the trouble to pretend to do all these executive orders and turn. Because it seems like if I had a body double, I wouldn't let that body double do the things I don't want Biden to do.
Right,
right. It seemed like I'd stop all that.
Did she say the inauguration was fake, or that the Biden that was there was fake?
No, the whole thing. It wasn't even in D.C.
It was Castle Rock, buddy.
What are you talking about?
Well,
there was people all.
No,
what?
Well, you talking about extras?
Well, there's extras of all the.
Remember, because of COVID, not just anybody could come. We were spaced out.
I know.
Easy to get.
Yeah,
extras
but even if
Bernie was there.
But even if you don't have,
really.
Rick, even if you don't have,
that's why I had them mittens on.
a
that
ticket
really him.
or a pass to go to it, you're in the neighborhood and you go. There should be a large crowd there, but why is there nobody there?
I'm just
look at all the flags.
I'm just Christian and Moody. Christian, go ahead.
Hey, so my dad totally believes all this stuff. I don't know. And he's kind of had me convinced at some point, but he believes in like the body doubles, and he puts all kinds of crazy stuff on social media. But sometimes when I'm talking to him about it, and I'm like, Dad, come on, let's get real. He is dead serious about this. And when all the inauguration stuff was going on, I was told I needed to go buy food and fill up my bathtub with water. I mean, just all kinds of crazy stuff. But these people really believe this stuff.
So nothing happened though. Did you go back and say, all right, Dad, you've told me about 4 different dates.
Yeah.
I have my bathtub is crammed full. I can't even get a bath over there. What? Why you're like 0-6? Why should I believe you?
Yeah,
now?
That's the part I don't understand. And to Bubba's point, I understand you may think something, but usually the thing that convinces me that I was wrong is when it doesn't happen. So I'm confused on how that never clicks. Well, I guess maybe that was wrong.
Well, every time we say, Dad, that didn't happen. He'll say, oh, it's going to be this day or this is going to happen, but he keeps pushing it out. So we've just learned to kind of steer clear of that and not say anything to him about it and just let him believe he's going to.
You're already planning on Easter just to say that's an off limit,
right? Yeah. Would you say he's addicted to these?
You know what? And I'm not trying to be ugly when I say this, but I really do think sometimes some of these people are brainwashed because he sends me all kinds of videos, and some of it's just outrageous. And people, like, I know people who, logically think, who are smart, and then they come up to me and they've been telling me some of this stuff, I think it really does brainwash people. To be honest,
you're right.
Let me ask you this. I've mentioned it many times, and apparently I'm going to get to mention it a lot more. If you love a good conspiracy, get your dad to watch Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be a wake-up call. You know how sometimes somebody has to sit down across from you and lay out your life and make you come to the conclusion that you've got a problem?
Yeah.
I think if he watches that documentary, he'll see how he can be brainwashed into thinking, I can't believe anybody doesn't believe this.
Well, and I also think that some people just don't want to accept that, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but, Biden is president. And I mean,
it's hard to say.
Whether you like him or not, I just think that, they just can't accept it.
No, trust me. It was hard for me to say as well. But I don't believe it's a body
ain't slept
double.
real well either.
Think about what she just said, though. She almost said, I'm almost fearful to say this.
I know.
I'm scared to say this.
Have you seen the way we get treated if we don't get in line?
I know.
On either side of all this?
Unreal.
Out here in the middle, some of us we're trying to just realize that we live in the reality of the good and the bad and the ugly. But there's extremes right now out there that are, man. To the phones we go, Bubba, to start the hour. And we go to Mike in Leeds. Mike, welcome to Rick and Bubba. Go ahead.
Guys, hold on. Let me adjust my tinfoil hat. My daughter called this morning and essentially crucified me and said that I was a conspiracy theorist. E.T., get off my couch and go home.
So,
now is this Mike or Tommy? You got just a sound of Tommy to you.
Just
a touch.
So did your daughter? Are you the dad she was talking about?
Yes. Let me give you a little bit of my pedigree. I graduated 4th in my class with high honors, cum laude, one major and 2 minors in ancient languages. I'm a grandpa. I'm a patriot. I've been, up until recently, with the Republican Party all my life until they betrayed us. And you can call it conspiracy theorist, but I can't use the mainstream media byline that this guy in office is our president. He's president over a dead corporation. And if you have any listeners out there, if they will Google or I'd rather you DuckDuckGo, the Banking Act of 1871, they'll find out what happened and how basically the United States turned from a constitutional republic to a corporation. That died a year ago. Number two.
Why did the corporation die a year ago?
Or be created? The constitutional republic.
It ran out of money. We're printing money now. Like, I don't know. Is it $2 trillion?
This is the gold standard. Yeah.
It's all monopoly money anyway. We have 80 countries that will not recognize the fiat dollar anymore, out of the 200 plus countries, and they're just not recognizing the fiat dollar. We're going to a gold-backed U.S. note that was stopped in 1968. Number two, how is the mainstream media going to explain away that the election was stolen and we had 75 to 90 million people that voted for Trump, record turnouts, and yet Biden, who couldn't draw a crowd of 3 or 4, had more votes tallied than Obama?
Yeah, I've heard all this before, Mike. I've heard all that before. Bottom line is, this is what gets down to it. This is where we separate the conspiracy theorist from just somebody who can't believe that Trump didn't win and somehow it was taken away from him. Do you believe that Joe Biden, whether you think it was right or it was stolen or whatever, do you think that Joe Biden is truly the president right now, is sitting in the true White House, and is running either the corporation, as you would call it, or this country, whatever form it's in? And I agree.
Writing executive orders like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. Or do you believe that's a body double? It's done at Castle Rock Studios, and the military is holding the White House, and Trump's going back in probably day after tomorrow, if not soon after.
No. By the way, let me make a proviso. Do not follow the dates. Those are to mislead. Basically, the enemies of the state.
Will it ever happen? So what if there is no date?
I personally, listen. I am not on the inside loop. Okay, I'm not getting my information from the mainstream media. I basically stopped listening to them after 20 years ago.
This is old stuff. Look, that's long. We're long past.
Is Trump going back in as president at some point in time?
We're long past the media's bias. We all know the media's bias. We're long past that.
Well, yesterday, Trump is going back in. Yesterday, I have a picture, a real-time picture of Air Force One sitting on the tarmac in Orlando, Florida, at 4:00 in the afternoon, while Trump was speaking at CPAC. The military is not beholden to Biden. The military, we are in a
stop. How do you know? Situation. How do you know that Air Force One, the picture you had, was real time? How do you know that?
Well, because the girl that is part of the military took the picture and
the girl that's part of the military. Who is this? Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, this is a rabbit trail. Let's stay on the subject. What I'm saying is you asked me a question. Will Trump come back?
Okay.
Yes. When? I don't know.
Okay.
I know the goal.
Okay.
I just don't know how we're going to get there.
Okay. All right, I got you. All right. I'm exhausted. You
got it?
You okay over here, Greg?
That cleared it right up.
I want to know what languages he studies.
Now here was that thing, because I asked a question in the break. Right now, I just got a text from my doctor. Rick, go to a new topic. Listen. This is what I was afraid of, because I asked the question and it was foolish. It was me. It was therapeutically asked. I didn't know you. I know y'all can't answer it. Okay, you know how sometimes you just talk out loud to get past it. I thought, why do people keep having things they say are going to happen and they don't happen, that they ever say, well, I guess it's not going to happen? And now I realize that, Mike, and I love you, buddy, But I realized there's never going to be a moment that somebody can say to Mike that represents the Mikes of our country, well, you know, it didn't happen. Because he's going to say, well, there is no date. Okay, so
that's to throw everybody off.
But I know it's going to happen. So when will it happen, Mike? I don't know, but it's going to. Do you see how that kind of gives you what we used to call in radio till further notice?
Yes, TFN.
We used to have commercials, and it would have an end date on it, meaning it's going to be outdated. Then you had some that was just a client that loved the show but wasn't running any specials or anything like that, and that commercial would say till further notice, TFN, meaning there's no need to replace the copy because nothing's going to be outdated on that commercial until they're ready to change it, till further notice. So what's happening is the conspiracy people are now moving to not a March 4th, not in any date. That's just to throw us off. It's going to happen. When? Well, I tell you it will.
Yeah.
And so now that can go on for till further notice.
TFN.
So I needed that information because now I'm going to just kind of not. I'm just going to leave that alone. Wow.